Hey everyone! Look, if you've spent any time at all scrolling through tech news lately, you know the internet is absolutely buzzing right now. There's this incredibly loud hype around AI and programming, and honestly, it feels like every single day there's a wild new claim. One day, human programmers are completely obsolete, and the next, AI-generated code is totally unusable garbage. We're going to cut through all of that noise today. Welcome to this explainer, where we are breaking down one of the most fascinating shifts in modern tech: vibe coding versus traditional coding.
So, vibe coding or traditional coding? It is the ultimate dichotomy that developers, startups, and massive tech giants are just passionately debating right now in forums and boardrooms alike. Are we actually moving into an era where we just tell a machine what the general vibe of the software should be? Or do we still need to grind out syntax, line by painstaking line? Okay, let's dive into this.
All right, Section 1, the cost of traditional coding.
To really wrap our heads around this shift, we kind of have to look backwards first. We need to validate some of the very real, deep frustrations that come with building software the traditional, highly manual way. We're looking at 4 major drawbacks here. First up, reduced efficiency. Writing syntax line by line inevitably creates a bottleneck for your overall development speed. Second, there's that notoriously steeper learning curve. Mastering foundational programming takes serious, dedicated time, which completely slows down onboarding and scaling up teams. Third, higher cost. This is a massive hurdle, especially for startups, because longer development cycles translate directly into higher burn rates. And finally, slower experimentation. Testing out new ideas just takes significantly longer when you have to manually build out every single feature before you can even see if it works. It demands a ton of overhead, and frankly, it can just be a massive bottleneck for rapid innovation.
Moving right along to Section 2, vibe coding versus traditional coding.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core of the debate. Because of those frustrating bottlenecks we just went over, the industry absolutely loves to frame this whole evolution as a strict winner-takes-all battle. On one side, you have vibe coding. If your ultimate goal is pure speed, rapid prototyping, and getting things off the ground with just massive productivity, vibe coding has a clear, undeniable advantage. It's all about momentum and immediate execution. But on the flip side, traditional coding remains absolutely essential. If your goals are deep expertise, rock-solid reliability, ironclad security, and minimizing technical debt for long-term maintainability, well, you simply cannot bypass manual oversight. You literally cannot just vibe your way into a secure, scalable architecture. It forces you to ask yourself directly, what is the actual core goal for this deployment?
Which brings us to Section 3, why great developers use both.
This brings us some much-needed relief from the argument, because here's the secret. The most effective, top-tier developers completely reject this strict either-or dichotomy. They embrace a hybrid approach. Look at how this works in practice. In Step 1, AI steps in to handle the highly repetitive stuff. It generates those initial boilerplate implementations, completely accelerating the tedious parts of development so you aren't just staring at a blank screen. Then, in Step 2, the human enters the loop. Developers rely on traditional programming knowledge to thoroughly review that AI-generated code. They optimize the architecture, tune the performance, strengthen the security, and solve those truly complex edge case problems that AI just cannot grasp yet. AI gives you the incredible head start, but traditional human knowledge gets the product safely to production.
So the crucial point is this: understanding why code works remains a human responsibility. An AI can absolutely generate 1,000 lines of complex logic in a matter of seconds. But if that system experiences a critical failure under heavy load, the human responsibility of comprehension is non-negotiable. You have to know exactly what is happening under the hood to go in and fix it.
And that brings us to Section 4, the future of software. So, where is all of this actually heading? Well, the strongest programmers will not be those who ignore AI. Burying your head in the sand and pretending the industry isn't shifting, that's just not a viable strategy anymore. But equally, they won't be the ones who depend entirely on AI to do the heavy lifting either. The absolute best developers of tomorrow are the ones who deeply understand software architecture at a foundational level and choose to use AI simply as a remarkably powerful tool. It's an instrument in their toolkit to accelerate their workflow, not a crutch, and definitely not a replacement for their own hard-earned expertise.
Ultimately, you can think of it like this: vibe coding is the multiplier, and traditional coding is the foundation. Just think about that imagery for a second. You cannot build a massive skyscraper on a weak foundation, no matter how aggressively your multiplier works. But if you have that rock-solid foundation of traditional coding knowledge, vibe coding acts as this incredible multiplier that lets you build higher, faster, and more efficiently than ever before. Great software requires both of these elements working in perfect harmony.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought for you to consider. AI is an undeniably powerful tool, but are you using it as a multiplier or as a replacement for knowledge? I really want you to evaluate your own approach moving forward. Challenge yourself to master both the foundation and the multiplier, because honestly, that is where the true future of software lies. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.